Hey guys, it's YB. Welcome back to my channel. We're doing another editing related video. So this is about phoning it in, which is the new show at Try Guys. So I got to edit one of the episodes, which was the butter episode. It actually just went out on Saturday. So you guys know every year I do a behind the scenes of the Without a Recipe edit, which is the biggest show at Try Guys. But after editing, phoning it in for the first time, this time I thought I really have to make a behind the scenes of this one because it was more complicated. It had more elements of editing and it just had so many different things that I had to learn. Not only the different techniques I'm going to talk about, but also adapting another editor's style. So usually at Try Guys, whenever we think that it's not going to be just one video, it's going to be more of a series, whoever edits the first episode, the pilot, becomes the person who basically creates the style for the video. So I was the one who started Rank Court, which is one of the newer shows. I was the one to edit the first episode, so I was the one who created the intro, the graphics, the style, everything. So whoever edits it next will have to copy my style. Now for phoning it in, which in my opinion is one of the most complicated shows we've done, Devlin was the one who edited the first episode. So he created the style, the graphics, how it is edited. So as I started editing the next episode, Butter, I had to learn from his style, his techniques, and try to match everything to his episodes. And I think in some ways that's harder than creating your own style for a new show because you kind of have to make it match everything and you have to learn how they did it. So without further ado, let me get into the behind the scenes of editing Phoning It In Butter. Hey guys, before we continue, we're going to quickly go over my nighttime skincare routine. So thank you YesStyle for sponsoring this video. Having a good skincare routine is just like good editing. You have a routine that you follow and you gotta be patient for all the things to pay off. So I get most of my beauty products from YesStyle, including my skincare, and I'm gonna share some of my favorites with you guys. So I have already washed my face, but my favorite recommendation for cleansing balm is Clean It Zero. This is from Vanilla Co. But after you cleanse your face, I use a toner. This is a AHA, BHA, PHA Miracle Toner by Sun By Me. So we got my serum. This is also Sun By Me. It's a Snail Trucica serum. And we're gonna put on a sheet mask. I don't do this every day, but only when I have time. This is the Collagen Essence Mask Sheet from Esfolio. After 15 to 20 minutes, you take it off and you let it kind of absorb into your skin. Then for the moisturizer, I usually use my Cosrx Snail Cream, but I ran out, so I'm waiting for the new order to come in. So until then, I'm using my Klairs Rich Moist Soothing Cream. This is also a Korean brand. It's very good. And this is a new item that I got. This is a Revive Eye Serum from Beauty of Joseon. And that is done. That was my nighttime skincare routine with products from YesStyle. I have a link down below so you guys can check it out, and I have a discount for you guys as well. So try out Korean skincare from YesStyle, and now back to the video. Alright, so this is the editing sequence of Phoning It In Butter. Let me make it big screen so you guys can see the sequence. It might look similar to my other Without a Recipe timelines, but I can tell you this edit was much harder. So this is how I received the project. So everything has been nested and divided into different sections. There's pre-thoughts. So in Phoning It In, we have two guys, Kwesi and Keith, and then we have two chefs. Then we have a green screen of them turning around and doing funny stuff that will be incorporated into graphics. Then we have the cooking section, and I will tell you in a second why this is divided into 3 different nests. A nest means each group, so each nest will have multiple cameras. Right here. So each nest will have 7 cameras. Does that mean there's 21 cameras? No, there's still 7 cameras, but we divided them into 3 different sections, and I will tell you why. Then we have the judging section, and that's it. So I received the project like this. I color coded the way I want. So this I already color coded, but I made, Kwesi yellow, Keith blue, Jennifer green, and Johnny mango color. And you can really color them however you want. I color code everything though to make sure that I am following through who is getting more screen time and whatnot. It's really easy to tell once you do that. So then the first thing I do after I receive the project is pull selects. So as you can see, I've gone through every footage and pulled out the selects that I want. Then do you remember how when I first received it, there were 3 colors of the cooking section? Now you can see in selects that I have divided them all separately. Why? Because phoning it in works like this. In the wide, they have two guys working at the same time. So Keith and Kwesi are cooking at the same time, but they are making different stuff. In their ear, on the phone, are two chefs. They are not in the same room, but this is happening at the same time. They're calling from another room in the studio. They're all doing separate things. So Johnny is talking to Kwesi, Jennifer is talking to Keith. I cannot edit them all together because they're talking over each other. They're talking at the same time. So what I had to do is duplicate a sequence. So this part, the first select that I pulled, this section, is actually gonna be just Kwesi and Johnny. So while I have all 7 cameras here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, my main focus here is just Kwesi and Johnny. So mainly I'm just gonna pull from camera 2, which is Kwesi, and then camera 4, which is Kwesi's overhead shot, and then camera 5, which is Johnny. Originally, I only had those 3 cameras in there, so it's not confusing, but I guess for some reason, towards the end, they switched cameras, so then camera 4 was no longer Johnny, it was Jennifer. So I had to include all the cameras in here so that whenever the camera switch, I will still get the right person. So again here, all the selects I pulled are just Kwesi and Johnny. And you can see these mics are disabled. So the disabled mics are Keith and Jennifer. I disabled all their mics, but still I kept them. I didn't delete them in case Keith and Kwesi were talking to each other. Those things also happen. So you gotta look out for moments that they are actually talking together. But mainly in this selection, I was focusing on Kwesi and Johnny. So this yellow and the blue are exact copy of each other. They're duplicates. However, in the yellow, I am focusing on Kwesi and Johnny. And in the blue, I'm focusing on Keith and Jennifer. So all the selects I pulled are gonna be Keith and Jennifer. Now you may ask, why is there a third duplicate? And also, why are the selects only pulled on the second half here? That's because at the end of the cooking, both chefs drop out. Their phone call is done, and Kwesi and Keith have to just cook without instructions the last like 30 minutes. I made a separate copy, and this time I focused on just Kwesi and Keith. So this will go back and forth between their cameras and show them cooking while not really showing the chefs because they're done. So I can say pulling selects took a good 3-4 days. Usually it should only take, 2-3 days even for without a recipe, but for this I would say it took over 3 days just pulling selects because I had to go through each footage twice and just make sure I got all the right moments. Now let's go to cut 1. For cut 1, I really only got to the first coin toss. This is how it looked. I had the rest of the footage that I wasn't edited yet, that I had it kind of waiting here, and I was done until here. But how I started editing this together was, as you can see, I separated the yellow and blue. And as you know, the yellow was Kwesi and Johnny, and blue is Keith and Jennifer. I edited them all separately. I like to checkerboard the edit so that the audio is more smooth. And then when both were edited separately, I will start puzzling them together like this. So there will be a section for Johnny and Kwesi and a section for Keith and Jennifer. And this is where the color coding comes handy because you can see how they go back and forth from each other. And that's also where music comes in handy. As you can see, the music doesn't go on very long each time. Usually the music ends every little step. When yellow team has something, blue team has something, that's all one song, but then it ends with a joke of someone laughing. It says Jennifer laughing at Keith, the French joke, and that's how it ends. And the next section starts with a new song. So I like to change up the music quite frequently. Cut 2, you can see, is a much longer video. I try to get to the very end. Now again, with the help of color, you can really see where each section ends. So you can see that here it still goes back and forth, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow. And here when the orange starts, it's basically when the chefs dropped out. The phone call ended and it was just Kwesi and Keith. And after that is the judging, and then the video ends. Now, since the cut was over, I decided now is the time to start getting into the graphics and start matching Devlin's style. So by cut 3, I start adding in the cold open and the graphics. Now you can see the cold open is made and I've done all the things that Devlin does. And little things like this. He made it so that whenever they turn around, it's sped up when they turn and then slowed down when he looks. So I noticed that in his previous episodes, the timing was like this. So the quarter is inserted and then it zooms into the chefs answering the phone. And then it starts with them saying hello and then cutting back and forth of both of them answering. And then it goes into them explaining, the chefs explaining what they're gonna make. So all these things, again, it would be a lot easier if I was the one coming up with the edit and just timing it however I liked. But I had to match it to the style Devlin did before. And I had to watch the previous episode so many times to get where the timing is and kind of go back and forth on it to match it exactly how it was. And then by the time you get to cut 4, we have more graphics in. So this is where I can show you the most. This was a funny moment that I created. This was the original footage of Johnny talking. And this was the high school footage. And this is the guy we decided to replace with Johnny's face. We cropped his face, then we keyframed it so that it follows this guy's face. Again, it's not perfect. I could have put more time on it definitely, but I didn't have a ton of time. And then I put a little bit of a cap because you can see without that his head's showing because his head turns a little. So I put a copy of the cap and just put it on top there. And shout out to Will, our post-production coordinator, who helped me make all these extra graphics with the green screen that I showed you earlier. Graphics take so much time and I was very tight on time on this edit because it just took forever learning all these new techniques. So Will helped me a lot by creating a lot of these graphics for me. We also added a joke of putting France come out of Keith's mouth whenever he made it. And I did this by adding an effect called wave warp. This makes the whole letters kind of wavy like that instead of just standing normally. And I made it track Keith's mouth so you can see the position is tracked every time it moves to Keith. You know, just adding a little fun things because a static text on screen wouldn't be as fun. I do want to point out this one section. This looks like a very simple edit, right? The time is over, it's time to deposit quarters. I mean, it looks like it's not that much work. However, there's a lot of edit that went into this little section. In the edit, in the final video, the 2 chefs, their quarters run out at the exact same time. However, in real life, they actually finished talking at total different times. Johnny was the one who finished calling first. Johnny was almost done with his cup and ball game by the time Jennifer was hanging up the phone. But to match the previous episode, they had to end the phone call at the same time. So what I had to do from this nested sequence you can see is put 3 different videos in there. First video was when Jennifer was ending the call. By the time Jennifer ends the phone call, Johnny's already done. He's heading back to the phone because he's already done with the game. And let me skip the second footage because I'll show you that later. But the third footage on top of that is when Johnny finishes the phone call. If you drag this on, you can see that even when he's done and playing the cup and ball, Jennifer is still on the phone for a very long time. So you cannot edit this at the same time. So what I had to do is put these 2 together and just crop this half. You can see Jennifer still on the phone, Johnny still on the phone, ending the phone call around the same time. But you see the problem here, right? The problem was that Johnny did not stay in his little stall, but even when he was done with cup and ball, he was kind of walking around. So I couldn't leave it like this because it looks like there's 3 of them there. So what I had to do is get another moment from when both of them were just on the phone together and not moving so that I had this middle section free. I cropped just this amount and keyed it so the crop moves like this. Why? Because that's when Johnny gets out of the frame here. So to follow him, and I can just lower the opacity so you can see. So I'm basically just following him. And now with the full 3 layers, it looks like they're ending the phone call at the same time. And then after that, it was just graphics that I copied over from Devlin's edit. We added this little fog. This little thing of lighting up just the chefs was another style that Devlin had in his previous edit, so I had to use that as well and adapt that style. So the most bottom layer was a dark color. We put the dark color on top so everything is dark. And then we put a mask of Johnny's stall there and a mask of Jennifer's stall there. You don't have to understand this full thing, it's very technical, but basically all I had to do was create 3 different sequences of the same thing and just put different color correction on it. And that's how this was made. So yeah, this is an example of doing graphics on a very, very short section. That seems like not a big deal, but it actually takes a lot of thinking and work. A similar thing had to be done here when we had to pretend they're playing the cup and ball at the same time. Another video of Johnny playing and then cropping it so that only this section is shown and then putting Jennifer's section right under so it looks like they're playing at the same time. And there were so many more things that went into this edit, but then it would take me forever to explain all of it. So this was the basic chunk and the biggest things that I had to do. And after that, after the whole cut was cut together, then it was submitted as always to Will and MJ for color correction and sound. And then you guys just saw it on the channel on Saturday. Okay, so that was behind the scenes of editing Phoning It In Butter. I hope you guys liked it. Again, I myself learned so much from just editing this one episode. And for those of you who are getting into editing or you're an editor already, there's always something to learn, whether you're working with a different editor or by yourself. And I think being able to adapt someone else's style is another very important skill to have. I hope you enjoyed the episode, both the Butters episode and this one. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, if you want more of the behind the scenes episodes. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!